No, I'm pretty sure every time Terrell comes on camera, I mispronounce his first name. I think I'm like 3 for 3 now.
And mispronouncing it.
Yeah. See if we can get some action going on here.
Looks like Victor kept his 7.
Both very likely to be playing Ancestral Visions. Snap, Fetch, Island, Ancestral Visions.
Looks like that's what he's doing.
So is Terrell going to respond with his own?
I believe so.
Nope, Serum Visions. Strict downgrade.
A different type of visions.
Yes, we are talking about blue-red X decks. I'm sorry if you misunderstood that. I am not a horrible racist most of the time. So, we're definitely talking about the difference between Jeskai and Grixis here.
See, it looks like Victor's just doing a better Terrell deck impression right now. Just going from turn 1 Ancestral Visions into his own Serum Visions on turn 2. The only way this can look down on him is if he doesn't have a second land drop.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I already saw one though.
Yeah.
Indeed, he does have the Bukade Serum Visions going on there.
Yeah.
Getting elaborate with his dice system here. Somebody really doesn't want to forget their triggers.
So do you think Nahiri is a really good card in this matchup? It can sway the favor, or is there anything out of Terrell that would do the same to him?
If he can resolve it, then Nahiri will just dominate this matchup. Being able to filter away extra lands or useless spells in the mid to late game is going to give Victor a huge advantage if he can get Nahiri on the board. Whereas Terrell, the best he can do is a Tassiger, and Victor, he's got a deck full of removal.
Does he really miss them a lot?
Apparently, if he's using a 2-dice system just to remember them.
Oh, you usually use a 2-die. You keep one on the Ancestral Vision and one on top of the deck, and then you just take it off and then move it.
I don't even use dice when I play Ancestral Visions. I turn the cards sideways.
Victor looks like he'll be getting off his visions here this next turn. I wonder if Terrell has any counter spells in hand to try to prevent that.
I think I saw a Mana Leak in both of their hands, so be interesting to see whether or not they fight over it. No contesting it at all. But drawing 2 lands Helix is not great.
I don't know, if he keeps hitting his land drops, eventually he'll just have enough mana to cast Nahiri and keep up a bunch of counters also. So I feel like this matchup, you just want to hit all your land drops and keep all your counters till a certain point.
That's pretty much any control matchup. Usually the person who makes the first play usually ends up losing, so...
I feel like in that fact, Victor is a little bit favored because he doesn't have cards like Thought Scour in his deck, which is a little underwhelming compared to other cards from Victor.
Yeah, and honestly, Victor may have enough burn in his deck to actually just burn out Terrell at a later point in the game.
It also looks like Victor had a discard also down to, down to 7. Discards a mountain.
No, he's only got 6 3/4. I didn't just discard or anything, you know.
Mm-hmm. Do you think we could see a hard cast Emrakul here from Victor?
It's definitely possible. The deck normally plays, what, 26 lands, 6 of which are fetches?
Yeah, 6 or so.
Definitely has that capability.
Try and land a tasker.
See how much they fight over this one.
The big word here is try.
Yeah.
And even if he does land it, like, he doesn't have enough mana to use the Tassiger ability in case Victor has a path or other type of removal spells.
Can you count the number of cards in Victor's hand?
You should have 7.
After I draw? Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Because he had 7 when he went to his turn, and then he drew a card, and then you just play the land.
Yeah. Well, somebody was saying it looked like he had 8 in hand still. Sideboard cards are definitely relevant. The white definitely provides better ones than the black, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Stony Silence, Rest in Peace. Those are definitely some powerful cards to be bringing in.
I don't know, the discard from Terrell here is pretty good, so black could be better in certain matchups.
Maybe like a combo-centric matchup, but like honestly, the discard is dead by what, turn 5 against most decks? Turn 6?
Mm-hmm.
So you're essentially trading in late game staying power versus early turn interaction, I feel.
Mm-hmm. I feel like the black would definitely probably be better in a meta where like Splinter Twin was still around and or like Amulet Bloom, because like then you, because those decks are quite fast. And
Absolutely, and those are combo decks where you need the hand interaction, so.
But there is no Splinter Twin or Amulet Bloom in around anymore.
We've
And
got,
then
what, Ad Nauseam left?
yeah, Nausea would probably be pretty good against, but even against like Abza and company, it's probably not the best. You'd want more like white-centric sideboard cards.
Yeah, I'd much rather have like Rest in Peace and Path to Exile than I would discard spells.
Mm-hmm. Kolgon's Command is also a pretty good card though, so
Yeah, it's definitely playable.
it pulls some work. I don't think Victor here has missed a land drop, so it's pretty good for him.
End your turn. Cast half cast.
Trigger bolt? No bolting. No.
It looks like Victor's thinking still.
Okay, target lightning bolt. Bolt you.
Looks like Victor, Terrell here is making the first move and trying to attack Victor's life total.
That heal looks kinda undoes all of his work though.
Mm-hmm.
Back to 17.
Here's some benefits of the white cards here. He looks doing some work, negating both the bolt and the snapcaster.
Essentially a 2-for-1.
Terrell here also hasn't seen any of his hand interaction like a Thoughtseize or an Inquisition to at least see what's going on over there.
Yeah, it's definitely a little surprising. Seems like he's been drawing more of his blue and black, or blue and red cards rather. Looks like he has a Terminate in hand, and Victor just doesn't need to play in creatures.
Mm-hmm.
Towards it. 5 bucks. You about 6, 7-ish.
One thing that Grixis probably has going in its favor, I think it might currently have the better man land.
In Creeping Tar Pit.
Absolutely.
I believe Celestial Colonnade's pretty good though.
It is pretty good, but 3 mana versus
A mana leak here from Terrell trying to tap down and or Victor just taps down his mana. Let's see if he has another one or a Snapcaster.
It looked like he had a Snapcaster.
Snap leak.
That's still going to end up being a 2-for-1, so I'm pretty happy with that Nahiri.
Mm-hmm.
Still not missing land drops here.
At what point does it become a curse and not a blessing?
When you need to actually play something.
Mm-hmm. Three mana here from Victor. Timely reinforcements.
Was not expecting that main deck.
You have more creatures than me and less life.
If you have more creatures than I, or if you have less life.
Okay.
So,
About ready to get 3 1/1s and go up to 21 here.
Mm-hmm.
soldiers.
Into your turn.
You could almost say that was like a sideboard card he just forgot in.
Almost. I have definitely seen some people actually play main deck timely, but just not very common, I feel.
Mm-hmm.
Make you discard.
This is a pretty good call gun command that's resolving here.
Discarding Bolt. I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
The 3 remaining cards in his hand, I hope they're pretty high power.
Yeah. He's been hitting a lot of his land drops as we've been saying before. He has 8 lands in play.
Then again, so does Terrell, so neither one of them have really missed any of their land drops here.
Kalista here from Terrell. It's looking pretty good on
Cletus.
this. Kalista. Oh, that's the League of Legends champion. Whoops. Kalista. Kalista. Yeah.
3 cards in hand.
Like I said, I've definitely seen main deck timely. It's just a little surprising every time I see it, I feel.
It did do some work here, though, getting him 3 1/1 tokens and then 6 life.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's probably pretty good against other burn decks and or aggro decks, too, so.
Absolutely. Interesting, if you look, Victor's actually keeping his graveyard separated out like lands and spells, so...
Give me a 19.
Really?
I should be at 20.
I mean, me at 19. I'm at 19.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Okay. I just wanted to make sure I was keeping it correctly, because I'm used to like scribbling down like every 2 seconds, like life changing.
I got a lot of stuff going on here.
Victor does have a path on hand to quickly get rid of the Coletus from Terrell.
5 mana, where are we looking at here? Baneslayer?
Goblin Dark
Oh.
Dwellers.
One, draw 3 cards?
That is pretty good. Snapcaster, Visions, Bolt. Seems like a pretty good
Seems like
vision.
gas.
Yeah. No lands there. Quickly suspends it.
You can never draw enough cards. I've drawn 6 extra cards this game. Let's draw 3 more.
Mm-hmm.
Cletus is probably best vampire.
He does have a lot of text. Interesting attack here from Victor. I guess he's just wanting to try to trade
Use
a
Bolt.
token and a bolt.
Yeah.
But Terrell does not want that to happen. He is aware.
It is definitely a safe attack. It's not like Terrell can attack back, so...
Still decides to try to path here, but Terrell is looking like he has a nope, he does not have a counter.
I think he was considering terminating his own Cletus.
Do you think he'd valued it more in his graveyard? I know he has
He would be
Koga on command and possible Tasker, but I feel like it'd be doubtful to get that back.
He thought about it for a split second, it looks like, and then realized that using the Terminate on the Dark Dwellers is probably better. The Goblin Dank Dwellers.
Yeah.
Too dank.
But he isn't able to cast it this turn though, because he only kept up blue and red mana. Maybe it's another reason why he didn't think he realized he just couldn't do it.
That's true. I didn't even look at his mana. I had assumed that he had tapped slightly better.
Yeah, he does have 4 other black sources. Looks like Terrell also did draw or had in hand a Dreadbore just in case a Nahiri doesn't land. Victor could have a Spell Snare here, which would be pretty good. But it looks like he does not. It already drew him 3 cards though, so he can't be too sad.
End up being a 4 for 1. I'll take it.
Looks like Victor's quite meticulous on how he plays his game,
Absolutely.
which isn't a bad thing. But I am slightly curious on if he does go to time or any issues.
I have a feeling we'll find out by the end of this match. So here's a question. How much do you put into protecting your Nahiri?
I feel like since it can just win you the game outright, I feel like you do want to protect it very hard.
Just discarding all of the lightning bolts. Don't need them. Get rid of them.
Very interesting.
Would you discard from here? Lightning bolt? Alrighty.
That Dreadboard's about ready to get some work here.
Same reasons.
Looks like in Victor's past matches, you'll see he slips up a bit and tends to enjoy playing decks he's not very good with.
Hey, if you don't play with them, you're never going to get better with them.
Attempt to Dreadborn.
There's that spell snare.
I feel like that is a very, very well play, because it looks like Terrell's going to try to Snapcaster it back. I would honestly spell snare the Dreadbore here, because it'd tap him out more and like not leave him up to a cryptic command or other counter spells. It'd only leave him to like a remand or.
Also gets it out of the yard, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So, I agree. I definitely would have spell snared the Dreadbore rather than the Snapcaster.
And then him having a 2/1 doesn't matter too much on this board, especially since you can possibly get an Emrakul next turn.
That's definitely a pretty good story there. On my second main phase.
Yeah.
This is what we're talking about, since the Dreadbore's still in the yard. Having a Snapcaster on the board would have been a lot less bad here.
Mm-hmm. And it looks like Victor does also
the
does
Dreadbore
not
is
have
exiled.
a counterspell. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Snap that.
Does he not have another counterspell in his graveyard to try to get rid of either the Dark Dwellers or
I don't think so. It's all
Dreadbore?
lightning bolts and timely reinforcements.
Yeah. It looks like Victor has not drawn any of his cryptic commands or remands or other counterspells he might have.
Let me check my hand real quick.
I do agree, Mr. Tofu 5000. They are playing quite meticulous. Victor, very much so. Hmm. Did he get his ancestral trigger?
I believe he missed it.
That dice was not on top of his library, so
Yep.
I see what they mean now. And at this point, I feel like if he would, yeah, Terrell just scoops. Can you ask if Victor did miss that last?
I don't think he
Trigger.
was too concerned about it since he
Mhm.
was so close to killing him.
Yeah, but like if Terrell like landed a damnation next turn or other such facts, like it could have mattered in the end. It just good play to try to remember. Like he was playing really well with it before, but he didn't put
sped
that
up
dice
at
on.
the end.
Yeah, he saw victory.
Yeah.
So what sideboard cards do you think both these players have for control matchups other than like negates and dispels?
That tends to just be the go-to stuff here. Victor might consider bringing in some graveyard hate, just because Terrell depends on his yard slightly more than Victor. But since he has the Goblin Dank Dwellers in his deck as well, might just forego that entirely.
He could bring it. Terrell here could bring in his no spell bombs. I think I saw him have last week or 2 weeks before.
Yeah,
Those would be really good for Victor's Victor's Goblin Dark Dwellers and Snapcaster Mages.
agreed. Guess we'll just have to wait and see. Like we all know that negates and like the spells are going to come in here, so
I'm also quite curious whether Victor Terrell might have like a Karanos or some type of other like just win more type, not win more, but like game
hard to
it.
deal with.
Yeah,
I would definitely expect it.
because like what other ways do you have to actually get rid of a Karanos other than countering it? Like you can cryptic to bounce it. Wait, Victor would also have a Nahiri to get rid of it, so we might not see it.
Well, it has to be tapped, doesn't it?
Not
or no, it's
enchantments.
Enchantments, okay. So, guess we'll see what kind of threats they're bringing in here. I was always a big fan of Batterskull in these type of matchups, just because it's so hard to deal with.
Yeah, you can play it later in the game when you have either mana to hold up a counter spell with it or mana to return it if it dies.
Absolutely. So both of those tend to be good options. Batterskull, I actually feel like is a little better against the Nahiri decks. So,
Victor won game 1, and then it would also be pretty cool to see a counter flux from either of these players since they're both playing blue-red.
absolutely. I'm a huge proponent of that card, so...
Do you think there's any black sideboard cards Terrell could have to break this mirror open?
I feel like Surgical Extraction would be acceptable. Nihil Spellbomb, as already said.
His nil spell bombs could be quite good in this matchup.
Good game one, good game two.
Two battle. I'm all about it. You'll be on the play, I imagine.
I don't think there's any other, like, black sideboard cards that are really, like, defining in this type of matchup.
I would agree.
Is anybody commentating? Who's commentating? I don't know who either of those.
Don't worry, we don't know who you are either,
Are they
Victor.
at that Victor Hunter level of commentating?
These would be interesting cards, Mr. Tofu. Elspeth Sun's Champion could be really good out of Victor, and Geist of St. Traff could speed up the deck quite a bit.
I have definitely seen some Elspeths. Geist, I don't feel like it's a great way of getting in since it just dies to the Snapcaster blocks, but if you're not too worried about ambush vipers, I guess it's definitely a sideboard card. You tend to see Geist, though, like, as the build-around part of the Jeskai deck, and I just don't feel like it's a usual sideboard suspect, so...
Spinning ancestral visions. Pass turn.
Also, metas are quite different, and here there's a lot of Jund decks, so Victor might have a Keranos in the main board or sideboard, because against Jund, Keranos is quite good. Also, Battersall is quite good against Jund decks, probably too, if they do not have a lot of or many Kolaghan's commands.
Yeah, it's not quite as good as it once was due to Kolaghan's command, but I feel like it's easy enough to protect just by waiting till the late game to easily play around that kind of thing. Yeah, Celestial Purge is definitely something, but I don't feel like Terrell has enough black permanents, or red permanents for that matter, to actually justify bringing in Celestial Purge.
Like,
If
what
you
would you hit? What would you even hit off that? Like, really, like
you hit
Tassiger,
Cletus and Dank Dweller,
Kalidas, Tassiger, and Dank Dwellers. I guess those are
and
options,
Lily if
but
they have them in the deck, which I don't think Terrell does.
yeah.
On top of it.
I do expect to see some number of negates and dispels in this matchup, though.
As there are always in most counter sideboards.
I'm just rooting for the counterflux, as said earlier.
A Rise and a Fall would be pretty cool here to see him out of Terrell. I think he was running it last week, or like a couple weeks ago, I mean.
I know one of the Grixis players we commentated for was playing it.
I feel like it was Terrell who ran Rise Fall. That card's pretty sweet. So now we see some of Terrell's hand disruption here, game 2. I don't think he had a single one, game 1.
So
Very solid.
Snapcaster or Remand.
Yeah, very solid hand here from Victor.
A little light on lands. No, 3 lands is fine, I guess. Especially with Remand.
Yeah.
I think I would actually take Remand for that reason, because he's going to use that.
Chooses Snapcaster Mage.
And like I said, Snapcaster is a reasonable choice, but I think I would have personally gone for the Remand just to prevent him from drawing a card with it on turn 2 or turn 3.
Looks like Victor's a good person here and decides to keep his hand up for Terrell.
Saves us all some misery here. Also, I don't agree with playing the Colonnade there, because now he just gives Terrell free reign to play anything on turn 3 here.
Yeah, I believe the Scalding Tarn would have been the play, not the correct play, but another play that would be decent. Because keeping 3-man up isn't too big.
I definitely feel like Scalding Turn was the play last turn. This turn, I definitely would have played the Hollowed Fountain tapped, though. Not that it makes a huge difference, but...
I don't believe we saw any Ghost Quarters from Victor. But if he did, and he does have a Crucible in sideboard, that'd be pretty good.
Well, I'm assuming he has some number of Ghost Quarters in the deck, because they've moved away from Tech Edge. And they have to have a way of fighting against the Tron decks, otherwise they just lose horribly.
I just don't know if I saw any.
Well, 2 lands out of 26, you're not always going to see them, so...
He did draw like 9 extra cards though, or
That
like
is
6,
true.
and then he did have like 8 lands in play. It's possible he does have them. I imagine he would, but I just don't think I saw any. And it would be a really good card. Looks like he's trying to slam his Nahiri here, or keep up Remand Negate, which he would know about. But if Victor does have Crucible, it would be quite good in busting this match open.
Absolutely. So how much can Terrell actually fight over this Remand here? Does he have the double counterspell necessary?
Well, I feel like if you don't have the first one, there's no point in drawing out the second one. So you would just let this go.
Looks like he has Snapcaster, Mana Lake Bolt, plus the card in his other hand.
which looks like to be, so he has 2 mana, I believe. I see a
No-
split card, I think.
Yeah, that's boom bust. I feel like, and then
I'm in weak.
yeah. So I feel like negate happens, and then the remand happens. So
Terrell decides to tap a little better here.
I think he learned his lesson last game when he couldn't terminate.
Mm-hmm.
Mainly resolves.
I'm really surprised that happened. Oh, well, that explains that.
Again.
Rather keep a negate for later turns.
Mm-hmm. Nope, those are still attacked.
Drop return. Okay. Targeting position. Allen position.
Take Snapcaster again.
Terrell does have to pay for that Inquisition using his Watery Grave, though.
He does. He should be fully tapped out.
Oh, I'm sorry. Let's take your.
I think it's pretty clear Snapcaster at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Snap.
Yep. Double remand from Victor was pretty good, though.
Absolutely. But this gives Nahiri a chance to just slam down here.
Is that what you do?
Oh yeah. You get a chance to resolve Nahiri. Even if you only get to draw one card, it's going to end up being a 2-for-1.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like Terrell can attack and then bolt. He's going to have to spend actual cards to deal with it.
Yeah. Scalding Tarn here from Victor. Looks like he's probably gonna try to cast that Serum Visions. What would you discard then?
Well, more often than not, it's going to be the random card off of the Serum Visions,
Mm-hmm.
but we'll see. Honestly, I would have probably actually discarded the Serum Visions rather than cast it.
Mm-hmm. You do get to see a lot more cards, though, casting the Serum Visions.
Sure, but now do you really feel like discarding unless you hit something awful off the Serum Visions?
Yeah. So, like, if he hits, like, another Nahiri, would you just discard that? Looks like there is a Visions and Path to Exile on top, so I'd put Path on top, and then just discard Path. And
Yeah, that's... Well, the problem is you have to discard one of the 3 cards in hand already.
oh, true. So
Well, discard the path in hand, so that works.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so yeah, I was right.
Yeah. I misunderstood.
Because you're not able to use the path here anyway, since you are, again, tapped out. Looks top's bottom. Discards a Visions, keeping a Visions on top.
That's
Okay.
essentially the same line of play.
This also allows for him to, if he gets a Goblin Dark Dwellers and a red source, to cast it, because he does not have double red here. But I don't know if Victor might still have that in, because it is a removal. It is a card that Terrell's removal does use.
Yeah, but you're not going to just take out one of your best win conditions just because it happens to turn on some of his removal.
Yeah.
In fact, if Terrell's keeping in terminates, I would be happy about it, even if I do have Dank Dwellers.
Mm-hmm.
I don't understand why Victor is choosing to cast spells before activating Nahiri. By activating Nahiri, you open up more options for yourself.
Mm-hmm. Double blue. Spreading Seas.
Interesting.
That's a pretty good choice here.
Fetch land on board, though, so...
It's not amazing, but it also does limit Terrell's Goblin Dark Dwellers.
And did he forget to draw his card from Spreading Seas? It looks like he did. Missed trigger there.
Yeah.
Too bad.
In your turn, I'll crack the fetch.
Looks like he likes his hand enough not to discard any.
Well, if you would have drawn that card from Spray and Seas, he might have had something to discard.
Mm-hmm.
Grab him out.
I cannot grab a mound with a polluted delta.
Oh, shoot, yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you.
Would've never noticed.
Right.
Dan the man, the myth, the legend, the horn dog.
The horn dog.
Right. Give me 17, right? 16. Alright. So I should be.
Can you ask whether Victor did miss his trigger for his spreading seas or not?
Well,
It's
he
too
clear-
late to. I don't know if it's too late to back it up, but
Well,
Did he?
He missed it
He
because
did,
he
he
would have
clear-
had another card in hand.
oh, okay.
And I'm gonna attempt to bolt in here.
Bolt from Nahiri's kind of awkward because you chose not to attack it last turn.
Absolutely. It's like he's sending mixed signals. Do I want to deal with Nahiri? Do I not want to deal with Nahiri? He did miss his trigger.
Okay. Looks like Thoughtsei's Kolaghan's command split on top.
Both on top.
Keeps them both on top. Looks like Kolaghan's command was on top though.
Attempt to cast Counter.
And I'm curious whether he decides to attack the Nahiri or go after Victor again.
I'm more curious about whether or not Terrell is going to search up a land after stacking his deck, since that Kalidas is about ready to get pathed.
True.
Whoa, what? He is not pathing Kalidas EOT.
Yeah, that is kind of interesting.
I don't know if I agree with that.
Like Terrell only has one blue mana up, so what are you afraid of? Spell Pierce? Dispel?
Yeah, really.
He only has one card in hand, so he would have had to draw that or the Kalatas off the Serum Visions.
Discarded an Emrakul. Free discard here.
Mm-hmm.
Turns off any Snapcaster mages, but
I hope that Victor does put that dice onto the Nahiri
I like Promise.
He's pretty cool.
to put it onto 7, because he didn't plus it. Or did he attack it? He attacked. Did his
he attacked.
Okay.
The end is fine.
Whoops.
We talk about tearing down.
But yeah, that's what we're all about here.
Right.
Go ahead. Effect after.
No land also for
He's
me.
doing it after the draw step. I don't know if I agree with that. You're giving him a chance to draw a card that he purposely left on top.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot agree with that at
And
all.
Terrell also just quickly gets his land.
Absolutely.
So it looks like he didn't really need the card that he kept on top. The second card he kept on
the
top.
Culligan's command. He kept the Thoughtseize on top with
Mhm.
Culligan's
Okay.
underneath it. So-
Interesting.
I definitely don't know if I agree with that. I would have probably passed an upkeep or end of turn.
I feel like the end of turn was the proper time to do that when.
More
Keep-
mana efficient.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the Thoughtseize, and goodbye negate.
There also could be an interesting card in the last two cards in Victor's hand. The punts are real. Spell Snare Path and Negate. What would you take here? Just Negate?
Not
Yeah.
even close. I definitely, during the upkeep on the path, like,
Mm-hmm.
Let's get rid of your negate.
you could probably make an argument for the spell snare, but negate is what's going to cause you the most trouble in this game.
Mm-hmm.
Swing at negate.
Got to keep it within bolt range.
Mm-hmm.
Is that last card worth discarding here?
It's interesting.
I'm just gonna start plus 6.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a kind of awkward thing, like knowing what cards are in hand when you discard in the draw. So
Well, Nahiri's definitely going up. There's no other option for
Mhm.
it.
I doubt in any possible that he would exile. Did
Choosing to play the land
did
rather
he?
than discarding it.
Okay. Well, now you get to be. Now you're able to activate Colonnade on your next turn to either block or attack with.
Sure. Ooh, is
Mm.
that Dank Dwellers?
Yeah, it is.
Steam vents and the Celestial Colonnade.
I would float that mana with
Um,
that Steam Vents first.
So interesting. He could actually spell snare this. So, but it doesn't matter because it's Dank Dwellers.
You can't cast
Oh,
it.
he doesn't have another red. Oh, next turn though, Armageddon.
Yeah. Oh, really? Is that how that works?
Yeah, because you choose it, but you bust everything.
Interesting.
Yeah, I know the path. Path turn.
Yeah, I definitely noticed that as well, but it was immediately after drawing, so you could say that he did remove the dice, so he did kind of announce his trigger in a manner, so
Sideways.
it's upside right if you look at the back. But we're about ready to have some busting action going
I don't
on
know.
here.
Is Armageddon even that good here?
Um,
Because, like, he has a Planeswalker. You have a Visions going off, and he has a Visions going off. But Victor does have a Path in hand, I believe, still, right? Or did he just use that?
no, he still has a path in hand.
Yeah, so he just passed your...
But that still leaves a 2-1 versus an Nahiri. No lands on board. Oh
Well,
no.
So what would so, like, you attack Nahiri, she goes into 3, then you exile it, go down to 1. And then your Nahiri's free for, like, at least a turn, unless he goes a bolt.
Combat. Attack Nahiri.
If you had another red source, and I think maybe one more mana, he could K command, make him discard it, but he would just path the.
Land for turn? No. He's going for it.
I'd float the mana before you
Target boom. Cast bust.
float mana. Hopefully have a counter spell.
It looks like Terrell might have a counterspell, but he's not floating mana. And the boom bust is definitely exiled.
And there's your Grixis. Thank you.
And, well, also with the path, though, it actually puts Terrell up to 2 lands versus 0.
That is
so,
pretty good.
Yeah,
And his fast land does come into play on tap too.
absolutely. Exile the Dank Dwellers, please.
Upkeep, trigger my visions.
It's gonna kill me. Thank you. I'm sorry.
Very relevant with a Culligan's command in hand.
Oh yeah, very.
Apparently did not have a basic mound to go after here.
He already had one in the lands that were destroyed.
True.
Still here. Let's see whether a Nahiri beats a Snapcaster. What would you do? Would you make her go up to 5, or against no red source would you exile the Snapcaster?
Honestly, I would probably get rid of the Snapcaster. That feels like a more winning proposition. It looks like there's red source in hand, so it doesn't matter.
Well, Victor doesn't know this, so.
It looks like there's another boom bust in hand as well.
Ooh. Boom Bust could be pretty blowing here.
But I think it's going for Culligan's.
Make him discard, deal 2, or make him. Let's see what he chooses here.
2 to you, go to Nahiri, and make you discard a card.
What else does he have in hand? Just a Steam Vents and a Boom Bust again?
Yes.
I'm gonna hear
So now Nahiri's down to 1. Now he can't exile.
Yeah.
But if he would have done that play, Nahiri would be dead now of exiling the Snapcaster.
Spreading seas are so cool.
Yeah, Crucible does look very good against Boom Bust.
Yeah.
But I guess like K command would also destroy it preferably before he would Boom Bust.
Shooting here. That's
Did he Did he discard anything to Nahiri last turn?
Yeah, he did. He said it over like where we couldn't
Gotcha.
see it. I think it was a dispel. He said, but I wouldn't know.
Because at this point, you're just using Nahiri in order to find lands.
Mm-hmm. Would Victor be dead here for all the times he... But I think Terrell would be dead also if he had not attacked the Nahiri. I was about to say, like, if he was attacking Victor instead of Nahiri.
He has to keep the Nahiri under control, otherwise, eventually he gets tired of it and kills the Snapcaster.
Yeah.
So there's no way that Terrell could actually attack Victor for lethal
Do you
here.
know that third card in Terrell's hand? It looks weird. I don't think I've seen the art before.
I can't tell.
We do only have 5 minutes left, so this is pretty unfortunate for Terrell.
Yeah.
For Victor, you kind of want to just hold on these last 5 minutes and not lose, so you get that win. But it could go either way, honestly.
He's definitely
here,
taking
8-8.
his time choosing this land off the Scalding turn.
Yeah.
Makes you a little curious here.
Mountain.
Can you tell us what the last card in Terrell's hand if he goes through it again? Because I know it's a Steam Vents and a Boom Bust, but the last card in hand is puzzling me.
Looks like another Nahiri and a Visions. Nahiri on top, Visions on bottom.
The last card in hand, other than Steam Vents and Boom Bust, is a Counter Squall,
Interesting.
which is counter non-creature spell, and
Target
then
player loses
just
2
2
life.
Counter Squalling the Bolt, which is pretty good.
I take 2.
Definitely seems
So
fine
he
here.
goes to 6.
You could actually redirect that to Nahiri and kill it.
No, it's loss of life, isn't
Is
it? Not damage.
Oh, yeah. You drew into Thoughtseize. Don't think it's too great here.
Mm-hmm. Would agree.
attack and pass.
And now Terrell's starting to go after Victor's life total. Looking like this might come down to a draw here.
I don't know, like, if Terrell draws a Kolgon's... Yeah, a draw overall. If Terrell draws a counterspell... not counterspell, a Lightning Bolt or a Kolgon's Command, he does win the game. But another snap here from Victor's might damper his plans.
Yeah. It was definitely not looking great there for Victor. I was a little surprised that he didn't minus his Nahiri down to 1 to take care of the snap.
Mm-hmm. Looks like he just drew another land. These lands aren't doing too great for him.
Is it worth boom busting here?
I would Boom Bust here, destroying my Spreading Seas island
Targeting you.
and getting his white source.
Definitely,
I think
definitely the blue source.
Yeah, the blue source. I thought he had. I thought that was another Steam Mist on a mountain. Yeah, he has triple red, so you can't stop him from that.
And that's spells.
There's 2 seas.
Let's get your steam vents and my sulfur.
Agreed. However, this is not looking good for Terrell at this point. Nahiri might just start taking over this game.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think she already took over this game. She's been on board for so long, just filtering cards for Victor. Quite ridiculous.
Absolutely.
And what looks to be in Victor's hand is a Remand and another blue card, so... Or it looks like a Remand Condemn, maybe? But Tasker here from draw could be a good draw. Yeah, just exile some of those lands there, Terrell. Or spells you don't need.
Yeah, that's a little curious.
No, no, I
No,
think
he
he'd want
wants
the
to get
land.
rid of the spells so the Tasker's ability is better.
Yeah, so that's why I corrected him. But
The
in
fact
the
that he
end,
kept the boom bust is interesting.
well, putting him down to 1 land, to 1 red source is pretty good. But I don't know if this game might go that long.
Well, the problem is Nahiri is going to just take out the Tasker if you ever attack with it, so...
Well, the Husker is lethal if he does find like a Kolgon's Command or a Dreadbore.
Any removal spell.
But Victor does find a possible blue source.
Spell or bust right here. Turn 0.
Looks like we are in turns here. A Kolgon Command off the top.
Yeah, but that remand is going to just go and say
If he
no.
has a blue source. He's gone through quite a bit of lands this game. I'm curious whether this... See? He doesn't even check, which I'd probably check, and then...
Wasn't that the remand that he discarded?
Oh, he has a negate in hand.
Right. Okay.
That's interesting.
Man, that was a good.
Why didn't he negate?
Well, Victor, I don't know if he might not. He may know that he doesn't have a blue source because it's a flooded strand. Yeah, Victor was out of blue sources.
Okay.
See,
I checked.
he checked.
Thank you.
Did bring in the Celestial Purge. Dispel.
That Nahiri was scaring me like none other. I'm like, I gotta get rid of this thing. I just waited for a Dreadbore.
He did not have a blue source. Pox 1896. He looked at us and said he checked.
That's kind of surprising he had no blue sources left because they normally play like 3 basic islands, 2 to 3 steam vents, and 2 to 3 hollowed fountains.
Pox 1896. In this game, a bust was cast, and if he had a blue source, I'm pretty sure he would have fetched and got it.
Yeah. He said he had checked his library and he had no blue sources left though.
So we can't just go check his library for him. Like, he said he did it, so he didn't.
Yeah. I would have still cracked and looked, but
Because you were dead no matter what. But I guess, yeah, I guess you were just dead.
You take 6, and the painful truths are extremely painful for you. And these stupid scions are protecting me from Liliana.
Did you have it? Yeah.
Actual Stone Rain?
Stone Rain, this
What
is
are you doing?
This is the situation. This is why.